Hi there, it's Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, Worldwide TV Network, Women on TV.tv, I2247 out of Franklin, Tennessee, and all the iHeart platforms around the world. So I've been looking forward to this one because I love anybody who's Brazilian. I love their culture. I love the language. Anything like that is magnifico. And then, so I wanted to kick this off to Danielle Martins, all the way from Portugal. Danielle, take it away.
Thank you so much, Brian. Hi, everyone. This is Danielle Martins. I am the branding manager at Hasmark Publishing International. And today is a pleasure for me to present to you Roberto Delanese and his awesome book, The Delanese Method. He is a Brazilian. He made his story in history in America. And Roberto, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Danielle. It's a pleasure being with you. So thanks for taking the time to talk to me. My name, like you said, is Roberto Delanese. I'm from Brazil. I come from a low-income family in a very small town. And I was able, by using what I call the method, to achieve some big dreams in my life. And end up coming here to the United States. I work for many corporations over the years. And right now I'm living here in US, in Las Vegas, to say the least, and enjoying what I call my abundance life.
Awesome. So we are two Brazilians here today.
Two Brazilians, yes.
Hey, this is what I like about this. Not only do I love the culture, it's got a great heritage of stuff, and the fact that you're living your dream life. I love that, Roberto. Tell me, how did the method come about? How did that start for you? Was it hard?
Oh, okay. Let me go from the beginning. In the family I was born, so my parents, they never passed the second grade. So it's a very poor family. So nobody has ever been to school. And when I was about 10 years old, and that's when 10, 11 years old, my father used to work in a railroad. He was a mechanic. And that was basically the dream for every boy born in the city. It was the highest aspiration you could have, is to become a mechanic. And one day I was in his company and I saw two people well-dressed and clean, not without grease like he was, right? And they were the engineers. So I liked the idea. And so I started telling my parents that I want to be an engineer. I want to be an engineer in the railway, not be the mechanic, but the engineer. So I literally was the joke of the family for years. When people would go to my home, they would ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'd say, an engineer. So everybody would laugh because it was an impossible dream, right? But I had this in my mind. I really liked that idea. And I was looking forward to do something. I was naive, so I was thinking that I could do it. And through the whole high school, I was getting information from the school. I started seeing the pictures. I would see myself in that school. I was dreaming that I was at the school. And I studied really hard. I did my best. And I ended up getting into I would say, the best engineering school in Brazil. And it was the only one that I could go because it was free tuition. You could room and board, so everything was free. And I couldn't afford to pay anything anyway. So I ended up getting there. And it was like an amazing, impossible dream that I achieved. So once you achieve one dream, it looks like you can achieve anything. You have the gas, so you are in that mode. So when I was in school, I started thinking, I don't want to go to the railroad. I want to work for a big company. Then I went for a big company. Then I want to maybe I can visit the company in US. So I started having dreams that they were not normal for people from my town or for like me, right? But I believed that I could do it. There was a strong belief. And I was able to basically join a big company, coming to visit US, and being in US, I stayed here for 18 months in training. I fell in love with the country. I want to stay here to learn more about the culture, the language. It was also impossible in the 80s, a Brazilian guy here. It's almost impossible to get a company to hire you to get a green card, an immigration visa. Okay? But I believe I could, and I did it. And I was able to get a job here. So I moved to US, and that's how I did. So my whole life, I was able to travel over the world. I did a lot of stuff. So it's not that everything went perfect from the moment that I was 10 until now, okay? I did have periods in the middle of my life that I knew how to focus in getting a job. I knew how to, in the business side, I knew how to be extremely successful. But I was letting the other areas of my life to go by themselves. Like I say, just like a ship without a rudder, just going with waves, okay? So I was not paying attention, and I started having problems in the family, was not paying attention to finance, to the friendships, to anybody. And I had my focus. And for me, was like, I'm doing this for my family, but I was neglecting probably everything else, right? And it didn't work out. So I became a statistic. I went through a divorce, I had many problems, and that's when I stopped and I said, well, something is wrong. How can I be successful in one area of my life and not in the others? So I started looking, what did I do right in my business side, and say, I can apply the same method for all the other areas and see what happens. And that's what I did. So I started acting the same way in my relationships, in my finance, in my health, and everything. It was like when you're in the dark and someone turns on the light, it's like, wow, you see everything, right? And I start having basically an amazing life. So I got a job in an amazing company in California. So I was in the East Coast, so I relocated to California. I got an amazing job, an amazing company, developed great friendships, and everything went better and better and better all the time. So I was refining over the years, and I create what I say, the Delanese method is what I use. Okay, how can I visualize? How can I, like I say, why is the method successful? Because I basically the method works in two fronts. I look in terms of strengthening the belief system. Is how can you develop in your mind that the mindset of champion, then you can overcome anything that comes in front of you.
And you believed in yourself long before people believed in you.
Oh, yes.
This was the most important thing.
Yes. I think the belief system is very important. So you see the story virtually, if you can talk to anybody, everybody tried to achieve some goals in life or some dreams or something. And everyone that basically gives up the dream, or they basically settle for less than what they would like to have it, is because they hit an obstacle, they have a resistance, they have like something that blocked them, and they don't know how to overcome, so they give up. So that's what I believe, that you cannot just look at a dream or a goal and establish the tasks and start moving toward the dream, because when you hit an obstacle, when you hit like a big resistance, you're not prepared. You end up basically giving up. So basically the book, the sequence that I do is the sequence that I believe that I did in my whole life, in everything that I did, is preparing first mentally to achieve that. So it's developing what I call basically the main site of champion. Champions, when people go for races, for things, before they start the race, before they start the game, they see themselves as a winner. They see themselves as crossing like the finish line in a race, for example. So it's the same thing in the goal. So you have to visualize how I'm gonna feel when I get there. So that belief system to improve your self-esteem, to eliminate those negative thoughts, to be able to control the stress. So when you start learning all those different tools, you becomes much easier when you're gonna achieve your goal, because when something happens that blocks you, you just overcome them. And you end up using those tools not only, I think the importance of the book is not only to achieve goals and dreams, is that at any time during our life, at any time you always get hit by something that something happens in your life, okay? So when something happens in your life unexpectedly, okay, a problem or something, you see they're going to be using the same tools to overcome that. So it becomes a way of life. So you start using this for everything. So I use this for everything. I don't basically stop and say, for my goals, I do this, and for my life, I do this. This is my way of life. Okay?
And you have coached many people during your business activities, right? To grow individuals, right? In their companies.
Yes, it's funny because I coming from engineering, I was always responsible for business results. But I had a passion always for people because I achieved something that was big for me. I want people to do the same. So I was always looking for people in the places I worked, people that were interested in growth, not only in the business, but also in their personal life. And I end up attracting a lot of people to me. So every place that I went through, you're going to find basically examples of people that I basically told them the process, how they should do it. I follow with them. And yes, I do have people from different countries, from South America, from Singapore, from Switzerland, from France, okay, that basically work with me in those areas. And people that move, like I have people that were stuck in a job for many years in a little country, and suddenly a year later, they're working in Europe or they're working in the United States, okay? Big changes in life. So you see in the book, I have a lot of endorsements, and they're going to see the website too. A few people that are going to state that, wow, this method changed my life because they basically open their mind. Okay, they start doing some things that they had a dream, but they never had the courage to pursue that. Okay? And so it was.
And your
that
book is like a roadmap.
Yes. Yeah, the key is is to, people normally have goals. Almost everyone has some goals in life. Some people have a goal for some areas of their life. They want to improve their relationships. They want to improve their career, their finance. And some people they're already successful. So they are already doing well in many areas of their life. And they want to achieve what they call their abundance life. They want to have what I call a balancing life. You cannot achieve one area in detriment of the other. That's what I was doing, for example. I was achieving my career in detriment of my relationships. Some people do the opposite. They want to do everything for the relationship, for the friends, and they end up being out of money, and they have big problems because they spend what they don't have just to please the friends and the family, right? So the key is that how can you balance that? How can you take all the different areas of your life and you can achieve the prosperity, you can bring them to a place that you are very happy, it is your dream, but in balance. And that's what I call an abundant life, right? It's not just, some people say abundance, they say money.
Exactly.
People that have an abundance life, they have a lot of money. Not necessarily. Okay?
It's not true.
It's what,
But you got about 5 things in there that I really like. It started as a kid, you were focused then, and then nothing was going to stop you. And then you saw, like, I think of the Spanish culture, I'm thinking of Cuba for some reason, thinking of them coming to America and they're seeing the images. So the images that you saw as a little kid were ingrained in you, and then nothing was going to stop you, which is probably why you have it, which is why you call it from your last name to the method. That's what I get from this. And that's how you do it. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I tell a lot of these young kids when I see them, it starts at an earlier age. Nobody can tell you what you cannot do at an early age, because if you want to do it, you're going to do it. And as you said, you're going to get over those obstacles no matter what, because a lot of people can't see what you want to do. They may not believe in it. They may be even family members. But you know what? If your mindset is there, and your mindset was always there, because I can tell it, and it's still there, obstacles or not, nothing was going to stop you. Nothing.
And that's, like you said, that's the problem sometimes we have. When you are little kids, you ask a kid what they're going to be when they grow up, and they're going to be a doctor, a fireman, an astronaut. They're going to be all those big stuff. Okay? But then they are growing up, and they start, the family or the friends, oh, you can do that. Okay, look who you are. Okay, look, that's for the top 1%. It's not for us, right? You don't have.
You don't belong there.
Oh yes, you don't belong there. You don't have what it takes. So get to a point when you grow up that you're even ashamed to tell people that you would like to start a new business. You'd like to change countries. Okay, so you don't even feel comfortable saying that, because you believe now. That's what I say, those negative thoughts that you have in your mind, and that holds you back. So that's what I focus in the book, is saying to uncover those negative thoughts and replace them by the positive thoughts, that I can do attitude. I have what it takes. We all have. So we all have inside of us tremendous amount of power, tremendous amount of abundance, that we can do what we want. So even those people that I said I mentored on the past, sometimes you would talk to someone and they said, yes, we have, I love it, but no, they have the dream, but no, I can't do, it's impossible. And I would ask them, I say, look, you have a choice. You do have the power inside of you, but you can choose. You can spend your whole life working to help someone else achieve their dreams, or you can
Exactly.
your dream. So which one you prefer, right?
Exactly.
So you have to try. So in the worst case, you fail, you learn something and you restart again. But at least at the end of your life, you say, I did something with what I have. I tried everything that I could. With what I have, I tried everything. And I achieved this, right? It's better than say, well, I follow everybody during my whole life and I didn't do anything for myself. Right? I think that's the key. That's the sad part.
Let me ask you this, Roberto.
And you know, oh, sorry.
Let me ask you this.
Sorry.
What's your dream now?
Well, my dream, I do have a big dream now. I was funny because when
I know you
stopped
do.
working like, oh yes, I worked until 40 years in corporations. Okay, so I finished like 2 years ago, and I said, okay, so now what can I do, right? And I said, well, one of the things that I want to do is I like summer, so I'm going to start spending summer in Brazil. When it gets cold there, I come here that is summer, so that was part of it. But last year, when we have the pandemic, I had to fly back to US, and I was here and enjoying my pool. And I said, okay, you have a pandemic in the world, and I like to help people, develop people, to help people. Now is a time that people need help, and what can I do? And I cannot do much. I don't know many things that I can help in hospital here. No, I can't, right? So that when it came the idea of the book to say, well, if I write a book that I detail exactly what people have to do to achieve their goals, their dreams, I think it's a good help. I can, instead of just working with the people that I meet everywhere, I can expand this to all over the world. But this is part of it. So that's the phase one. There is a phase two. I need phase one to be complete. I want to launch that book. My dream is that this book will be an international bestseller to give me the credibility that, yes, you know what you're talking about. People are buying your book and they are having success. Okay? What I want to do after that is basically start something, an organization, something that can help kids that have the potential, that they want to do something, but they don't have the resources. They don't have the mentors. They don't have anyone that can support them to do it. So that's my end state. So that's what I see as my next phase, the next phase of my abundant life. I know that I'm okay for me, so I can basically start being the soul for the rest of my life, watching Netflix, and I'll be fine. Okay? I can have a place to live.
No, Roberto, that's my job.
So I said, that's not rewarding. I said, well, I have to do something that I can. I think the pleasure, the passion that I have is to help people to do something. And that's why you want to try to do with those people that they want to do it and they don't have resources. So I got lucky because I didn't have resources, but probably I had one or two people in my family that would say, yes, maybe you can, just go for it, right? And sometimes that little push is enough for you to believe in yourself, right? So that's what I literally want to do. So I want to live until 100. So I have like 30 years ahead of me. I can more than 30 years. So I had 30 years to help people out there. So that's my goal. That's the next phase of my abundant life. Okay, is how can I help others to succeed, and hopefully they can do way better than I did. Okay, because they can learn from my mistakes, right?
You know, Roberto, one of the things I said, you just touched on it. There was two things. I remember I must have been 7 when I said I wanted to be a basketball player. And I knew that was going to happen. Someone asked me. And I knew I wasn't going to be that because I wasn't any good. And then the second thing was I was going to be a disc jockey. And I was going to, no matter what, I was going to do whatever it took to get there. So I went through the back door of being in news on a news radio station. And as you know, any way is a way to get in. And I'm so glad that I did, because to this day, I'm a news junkie, but also that's what got me into radio, doing news and then going into top 40. And then the other thing you just mentioned, I said this my sophomore year of high school. I said, I'm going to live to be 130. I'm never going to have headaches, and I'm going to do what I can to help people and move to California. So all 4 of those things happen. So I still, as you just said, I got another 60 years to live to 130.
That's great. Oh, yes.
But again, it's
Can
what you
imagine
just
how
said.
many
It's the
you can
intention,
do.
right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. You must have a dream that for you to achieve, like way out there. I always think about 3 to 5 years ahead of me. Anyone that ever worked with me in any capacity, anywhere, they always heard me to ask them, what do you plan to do in the next 3 to 5 years? Where are you going to be in the next 3 to 5 years? Because that's how I always thought. I never think about what I'm going to do this year. Okay? It's almost like in 3 to 5 years, where do I want to be? Okay? And I think 20, 30 years is long. So I said, well, I start with the 5, and every year I go 5. Okay, so it is, I keep moving.
And this is what keeps us alive, because we are human beings, we are goal-oriented individuals, right? And we need to have focus in something to have that purpose in life, to have that feeling of, okay, I'm doing something valuable with this, with my life, right?
What you take from life, like I probably told you, what I believe I take from life is the learnings that we have from life in those beautiful moments that you enjoy in life, right? And there is no better moment than when you can help somebody and you help them to achieve something, or you help them to do something that by themselves they couldn't. So you are part of that. So it is, those are very important things. So if you can dedicate portions of your life just to help others to succeed, I think it's a tremendous reward. Okay, it is. There's nothing, there's no money that pays that, right? So
their success is your success too.
Yes. Oh yes. When people say, what would you do? When they say when you do something that you love, you don't have, it's not a job, right? So this is exactly what's happening right now. Okay, I'm doing something that I really enjoy, that I really love it. So hopefully, I will be successful. And yes, there is no income, but there is a huge income in no monetary things. Okay?
Emotional income.
And emotional. This is like amazing. Okay, it is. So yes, I'm very happy where I am, and looking forward to do this next step, because I think it'll be great.
That's another thing, Roberto, right there. There may not be income, however, I mean, don't give it up just because of that, because you just never know who may come into your life. Again, the law of attraction. Keep attracting those people. Do your best to keep that positive attitude.
Yes.
And someone will just come in and just finally believe, because it does take work.
Yes. Oh, yeah, yes. Yes. No, you're right. Yeah, and that's what we want to do. Okay. I'm not looking, even when I finished last year writing the book, and I was talking to Hasmark, looking for someone to help me to publish the book. Okay. And they said, what is your goal? You want to sell 1 million copies, make like millions of dollars in the book? And I said, no, I didn't write the book for the money. Okay. That's not what's driving me to write the book. Okay. I'm writing the book so I can see tons of people out there benefiting from what I did. Okay. I think that's my payback. That's what really is going to make me happy, right?
Hey, I'm looking at it this way. I'm happy that anybody who could take the time and write a book. I don't have one. I mean, I think that's a great thing, and I don't think it's easy to do. I may be wrong. I mean, Danielle's got a great one that I read 3 times with Katerina Kazayas on it, and I loved it. And I think of certain things when other authors like yourself, and talking about stuff in your book, it makes me think about little things that she has in her book. I think that's really, really important. The good thing about a good book, music, movies, is that those things are inspirational for a lot of people, and you never know who you're going to reach. Right, Roberto? Right, Danielle?
That I also had never written anything. Okay, I never thought about writing a book, for example. Okay, so last year the drive basically was that I said I have to pass this to somebody. How do I leave this so people can continue using the method? Okay, and I was sitting.
And this is abundance, right? Abundance is something fluid. It comes to us and we pass it on.
Yes, and I start basically writing, putting pages together. I look and I say, well, I should write like 100 and some pages. If I write 1 or 2 a day, in 3 months, I can do it. Okay. So that was my goal. Okay, so last summer I was here. I played stock market in the morning, so I have that's to keep my mind sharp. So I play with the numbers in the morning. Then I was going to the pool and thinking, what do I write today? Okay, and then come back at night and basically writing 1 or 2 pages. And that was my whole summer, the year 2020. And then
Was
by
it
October,
was that
November, I
easy,
had
Roberto?
100 and some pages.
Was it easy?
I think in the beginning, the idea was like, wow, it must be like, it must be like huge. I don't think that I can do so easily, right? But once you start, I start basically with this piecemeal, okay? Say, let me start with 1 or 2 pages a day, okay? Try to focus on that. So once you start, it looks like it gets a life of its own. And then was like you are looking forward every day to sit there and do something. So it was not hard. It was literally was easier than I thought. Even when things that I sent the book to the manuscript to a few people to review and say, is this something that I should launch out there? Or you look and say, this is ridiculous. Don't even try to publish, right? So I sent to a few people. And the feedback was very positive. And one thing that people told me is that I have basically 3 parts in the book. The first part, I basically describe my life. I go through everything that I went through from the beginning until what I am today, right? And they say, how was it so hard? How hard was it for you to write that? Because you expose yourself, okay, all the failures and everything that went wrong, okay? And I said, look, if I'm telling people that they should follow my method, who am I? Okay, they have to believe in me. And the only way I can bring a credibility is to tell what I did. So they see that I am just a person like they are. So probably most of the problems they are having out there, I also did have, okay? So I went through the same thing. So I'm not anything special. I am just anybody, okay? So that first part, but that gave me the strength to do the others, because once you do that, then you can say, okay, now that they know what I went through and they know how I did it, now I can describe in details what they have to do it. So it became easier. So it was easier than I thought. I really believe that would be like very tough, but I think Danielle was the same, because she wrote her book and I read her book. It's a beautiful book. I really enjoy it too.
Hey, Danielle, let me ask you this. Was it hard for you to write your book?
Actually not, because, I'm very, if I have those steps written, and organized, I can go like a horse, and and I became, the book was born by the chapters. I knew exactly what were the concepts I needed to transmit to people. So I wrote the chapters, and then I just needed to develop each chapter in the right order for people to follow. So it was not hard for me to write the book, because actually when I put the chapters in order, it was like, okay, now I just have to develop it, and it was easy.
Yeah, and that's something that you said that was funny that happened to me. When I thought about the book, that I start organizing, what should I write about? And I divide, and I create like chapter names that was just to trigger on me, what should I write? So I put like the first one, The Impossible Dream. I have like from paradise to hell, okay? Just for me to remember what was. So the great times, the bad times, and they end up becoming the chapters, because I kept there and everybody said, no, they look good, just leave there. They describe what the chapter is really about, okay? Mm-hmm. But it was interesting because
it's setting a goal, right? You set a goal, you define what you want, then you start to set steps to achieve that goal. And it's like getting in your car and wanting to move from A to B. You have middle steps between the seats until you get to the final place.
Yes, oh yes. And the tricky thing for me is that I like to do things perfect. I don't like to do like sloppy stuff. So I try to write, the book is from the heart. I really put everything that I had. Okay, there is nothing that I left out. I try my best there. So yes, it's not, never is going to be in the literature out there. So he's a Brazilian guy with poor English writing the book. So yes, I have an editor to go through. He fixed a lot of stuff and I organized a lot of stuff. Okay. But it's a simple book. It's very pragmatic. One thing that I remember hearing from a lot of people that I mentored in the past, is that they get those books with a lot of theory. You get like 400 pages and it's like 90% is theory. And they say, I want to know, what do I do? How do I, is a guide, is a practical guide. So this book is very pragmatic. It's very simple, it's pragmatic, it's easy to do, it's really a guide. It's how to do it. Is you do this, do this, do this, and you get there, okay? If you want to know why this works, okay, there are a lot of books out there that explains the why, okay? But I tell you, if you do this, you get the results. So I basically focus on that. It's a small book, so it's not like a 400-page book. It's like, it's under 200 pages. It's the same size probably as yours, Daniel. And so it is my heart there. So it's something that I really, really did very thinking about the readers, okay, say, how can they benefit from this? And that's why when I finished, I said, well, for me to launch this, I really want to launch this, have a nice cover, have everything very good that people buy and they enjoy reading and they get benefits. I think that's the most important thing, right?
So Roberto, we got about 5 minutes left. I want you to say, in your natural tongue, describe your book for that Portuguese audience, for that Latino audience that speaks your language. Go ahead.
Wow. Let me see. O livro que eu escrevi é o Método Delanese, o Delanese Method. É um guia prático para sucesso, prosperidade e abundância. E é uma forma de como que você consegue viver sua vida, o dream que você tem para a vida dos seus sonhos. Então, é transformar o sonho de sua vida em realidade. É um guia que vai passo a passo e que te leva da onde você está hoje até onde você quer chegar nos seus sonhos. Basically, that's it.
You know what I liked about that, Danielle, is that he literally switched his mind around, which I thought was pretty cool. He goes, oh yes, let me do this. I remember how to do this.
One thing that I was saying Portuguese and that came to me that is interesting, that the way that I associate the book, I associated this book with a GPS, because I say everybody has a GPS on the phone and that you know where you are, you tell where you want to be, and it takes you there. So I say the Delanese Method is a GPS for your life. You look in where you are in life and you know where you want to be in life, your dream, and it takes you there. So it guides you from where you are today, in the life you are living today, to the life that is your dream life. So that's your GPS for your life. So it's a book and it's a device. Okay. So.
I love that. That's brilliant. I really, really like that one. So let me ask you this really quickly. We got about 3 minutes. Give your social media links, and why should people go and find your book? Why should they purchase your book?
Oh, okay. The book is going to be in Amazon. It's going to be launched in March 9th. So it is coming very close now. I am putting together a website. It's going to be robertodelanese.com. I am also in Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook. Always everywhere is Roberto Delanese. And I believe that people should get the book, because the book is a tool that is going to help them to improve the quality of their life. It can be one area of their life, or can be the whole life, to live a life of abundance. But there is something that is simple, easy to use, and like we said, is a guide that is going to take from where you are and move to where you want to be. And it's going to give you, besides this, a lot of tools for you to go in the day-to-day, overcoming obstacles and have a much better life, stress, thoughts, and really great. So.
And it also has augmented reality, right?
People that read the book, they said that the book is almost like a mentor. He said, when you have the book, it's like have the mentor with you. And the augmented reality is interesting, because you're going to have a chance to, once you have the book, you can scan with your phone a marker, and I have a message for you. You're going to see me, you're going to hear me again, right? So it is an additional message you're going to get in your phone just by having the book. That is really interesting. Yes.
And Danielle, give your social media links for everybody again also.
Okay, thank you. You can find me at hasmarkpublishing.com or danielmartins.com. Across all social media, Daniel Martins. Okay, Daniel Martins everywhere.
See, and I love this. I love it's your time to shine, and I love live your dream life. I love stuff like that because those are like important words to me that just like stick out to people. I think that's really, really good. See, I'm glad I had you guys on. See, it's fun. All right, Daniel Martins, thank you so
Being with
much.
you, so-
And Roberto Delanese Method, I think I want to read your book now because I keep looking at the title and I like it. And but I like that you focused as you were a young kid. That really gets me. And so I'm going to turn it on to a couple of these youngsters. I think this will be good for them.
Oh, that's great. No, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And thanks for having me. It was a really a fun time to be with you and Danielle. So excellent time. So thank you very, very much.
And then by the time it right before it comes out, we'll have you back on again, and we'll talk about your launch of your website at that point too.
Okay. Oh, I appreciate it.
All right, as I always say, and I have to say this to everybody. And so Roberto, you're in Vegas, I'm in Vegas. It's if you see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours because the world needs it. Thank you, Daniel. I really appreciate all the hard work that you're doing there. And besides, you got to go because it's past your bedtime. And Roberto, thank you for coming to the US because we need more people like you that can inspire those other people coming up in the world. It's very, very important. The world needs that. And I'm Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, and we will see you next week.